Okay, let's head over to Australia's Nine News that goes and breaks down what's happened with the election with Nine News editor Charles Crocher. Yeah, why can't we have Anthony Green? That's the one we want to have because he's Mr. Election.
Will return as Prime Minister for a second term after a Labor landslide in the federal election.
It was just incredible viewing, really, to break it all down. The big wins, the losses, the shock swings. We're joined this morning by Nine's political editor, Charles Croucher, who looks pretty well rested, which is incredible. Charles, an historic night in so many ways. What did you make of it all?
Yeah, we had an early finish. That makes it a bit easier when it comes to the rest. Look, this was a re-election of a Labor government and a realignment of our politics. A remarkable night. You felt the tectonic plates of Australian politics shift. And in the way not many people predicted, the Liberal Party just obliterated in the cities. If not by Labor, then by the Teals. The Independents had a good night and some deep soul-searching. On Labor's side, they're now looking at the prospect of 2 more terms, given how emphatic this result was. The first-term government to increase their majority since, I think, Bob Menzies back in 1951. It is a remarkable result for what has come in. Some of the seats that weren't even considered have been picked up, capped by the loss of Dixon to Peter Dutton, who not only is out of the leadership but out of the parliament altogether. 3 people I want to mention. Ailey France, who beat Peter Dutton, has, on her 3rd attempt in that seat, has worked so hard in Dixon. She's now a Member of Parliament. Anne Urquhart in Tasmania left the safety of the Senate, ran for a Liberal seat, got a 15% swing to her in the midst of that salmon battle in Tasmania. She'll now, I think, form some part of Cabinet at some point soon. And then Mary Doyle in Aston in Melbourne won that seat of the by-election. That was remarkable. And from that moment on, almost everyone you spoke to at Parliament said, well, that's an incredible thing. She'll be a half a term MP and then that will go back to the Liberal Party. Last night she got a swing to her. She's made that seat traditionally a Liberal seat. She's made that now safe Labor. 3 women with 3 remarkable results that are just indicative of what was a hell of a night for the Labor Party.
Yeah, it was such a resounding victory, and I mean, you've been there for every minute of this campaign, Charles. Let's go back 6 weeks, because it seemed neck and neck at the start of this campaign. It seemed, you know, you could split the difference between Albo and Peter Dutton. So how is it that Albo managed to sweep this one so defiantly, do you think?
Discipline and structured campaigning. The team led by Paul Erickson at Labor headquarters, Anthony Albanese and his team, led by Tim Gartrell, had an amazing strategy and plan and went through with it. I think that was the thing that stood out. The Liberal Party campaign, on the other hand, sort of attacked around all over the place. They seemed undercooked when it came to their policies, you know, dumping the work from home policy midway through. I can't remember anyone ever doing something as drastic as that. Now we know why. They were seeing on the booths what we saw last night. So when they were door knocking Liberal MPs, they were hearing how bad the problem was, and the damage was already done. It was structured from Labor. They had a tactic and a plan, and in the midst of it all, don't forget, there was Liberation Day in the United States, and Donald Trump threw a big grenade in the middle of elections here and in Canada. And there is no coincidence that the 2 Conservative leaders that at Christmas time in both countries, Canada and Australia, were ahead in the polls, ahead in the betting markets. They got labelled for Pierre Poilievre in Canada, he was Maple Syrup MAGA. For Peter Dutton, he became stuck with that Timu Trump moniker. Both lost the election, both lost their seats, both could cast some blame to the United States as well.
Yeah, it feels like the Trump effect is
Absolutely. And look, we're live in Brisbane this morning, and it can get quite wild politically, as we know, in Queensland. And we saw that last night. You mentioned Peter Dutton. We spoke about the possibility, but I dare say most of us didn't think it was actually going to happen, and it did.
No, I didn't either. You know who did? Anthony Albanese. He started his campaign in that seat. And I spoke to him on a plane ride at some stage during the campaign. I can't remember where it was. But he was adamant that they weren't wasting time on some kind of personal folly up there. They were going there because they thought they could win that seat. And in fact, it was the most visited seat of the entire campaign. Peter Dutton went back 4 times, and for a leader that is unheard of. So he knew something was up there as well. The bigger question now is, you know, what did the coalition do?
Yeah, and that is the question, Charles. It feels like a poison chalice at the moment, but who do you see taking over the leadership?
Well, and they've got to see who's still in the parliament first. There is some still fighting for their seats. Last night, in the sort of text around, the names being thrown up were Angus Taylor, Dan Tehan, Susan Lee, Andrew Hastie in the West. But don't forget, it's not just the leader. You've then got to fill out a cabinet, and lots of the up-and-coming, the generational talent that many were looking to come through lost their seats last night. You've got to find a shadow treasurer. You've got to find a shadow foreign affairs spokesperson. You know, there are all these roles that have to be filled. The Nats are chomping at the bit because they held most of their seats, so they'll want more involvement in the coalition as well. But that further pushes the party to the regions, and the regions need representing. I'm a country kid. But also, you need to somehow get back. There is no path for the coalition to win back government without reclaiming Liberal seats in the heart of cities.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you're subscribed to our Facebook, YouTube, Twitch, Instagram, TikTok. News, guys, the Order Paper Podcast.